So, this past weekend, I had a chance to join the community alpha test for a cool indie MMO called EverCraft Online. And now that I've had the weekend to give it a good look, I wanted to make a video about my thoughts on it. So, let's get into it. I went into the weekend with fairly low expectations because I knew very little about the game. Basically, all the info I had was old school MMO meets Minecraft graphics, but you can't interact with the blocks of the world like in Minecraft. It starts out with a nice simple character creation, lots of race and class options with some grayed out. This is a very early alpha test, so it makes sense that not everything's ready to play yet. It looks like it's basically human, ogre, wood elf, dark elf, half elf. I'm not going to read off all the classes you can choose from because it's going to take me too many tries to say them all properly, but they're right there, just look at them. Look at all the class options, it's great. I had it in my head before even signing up that if it was an option, I wanted to play a Dark Elf Cleric. Dark Elf was always my favorite EverQuest race, and this is all about reliving those old days. And Cleric, I just like Cleric. I was in a Cleric mood. There's some cosmetic customization to do. It looks nice, but I usually ignore this kind of thing. I'm rarely looking at my own face anyways. So let's get into the game and see what this is all about. So because of some other commitments over the weekend, I was only able to spend about 8 hours on EverQuest Online, and I really wish I would have been able to spend more time in this game, because as soon as I logged in and started playing, I didn't want to leave. The game opens with a little note describing briefly how to get started and pointing out that this is going to be the type of game where you need to hail NPCs and talk to them to get breadcrumbs that lead into quests and adventure. There were 2 pages to this note, but I was so eager to get playing, I didn't think to read the second page. It also points out the note in your inventory and tells you to take it to your class guildmaster. But unlike some games, you don't start out standing beside your guildmaster, you have to find it. And the little note doesn't help. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. And you're going to have to figure it out by talking to a guard and asking for directions. So I wander around for a bit, and oh, look, this poor guy didn't last long. So I wander around for a bit, and I find a guard to ask for directions. Now, fun fact for later, this building that I'm asking a guard for directions in front of, this is the Cleric and Paladin Guild Hall. I essentially walked a straight line directly to where I needed to go, asked the guard where the building was, and then walked away to search the city for it. But that's just me being dumb. So the guard tells me the Temple of Balance is on the west side of Leont. That's the human city that all the elves are starting in as well. It is at this point where it really starts to sink in that there is no compass and there is no map. So how am I going to figure out what's east and what's west? My first instinct is to stare at the sun for a second. It's directly overhead. It's either noon or this is going to be no help to me at all. Naturally, I don't try to track the sun's progress, I just forget it exists and never look at it again. So I start to wander. I find the Steel Lions Guild Hall. I remember that from the directions the guard gave me that means I must be in the east end of the city, so west naturally must be the other end, so I head that way. And there it is, the first building I went to for directions, the Temple of Balance. I head inside and find my guildmaster, Railson Pureheart. I hand him the note and he gives me 2 spells and instructs me to practice on the vermin outside of the city for an indeterminate amount of time. I decide this means to come back at level 2. So I scribe my spells and I head out into the wilderness. So I'll just talk about the spell book for a minute here. I think it's great. It's simple and intuitive. The game didn't need to tell me what to do to learn my spells, it just seemed kind of obvious. Maybe it's because it's similar to how you would do it in EverQuest, and I have spent the equivalent to the lifetimes of several school-age children playing that game, but it's the perfect amount of simple. I love that nothing so far has been excessively complicated. I'm not a big fan of needing a huge wiki to figure out how a game system works. They should just make sense, especially if you've been playing MMOs for a long time. So I wander around looking for the way out of the city, and I find it. I decide that if the Steel Lions was to the east, and the Temple of Balance was to the west, then this must be north. So I head out into the courtyard outside of the city and start killing little critters. Spiders, snakes, rats, cute little bunny rabbits. Naturally, I attack the first bunny I see, and the combat system is fine. It's simple and easy. It takes a little long to slowly club a cute bunny rabbit to death, but I can live with that. My only complaint so far is that it's kinda hard to click on stuff. The actual box for the mobs that you click on seems kinda small, but that's kind of a minor thing, and I haven't said anything negative yet, and I really felt like I should criticize something. So now that I'm out here fighting small animals and really getting into the game, let's talk for a minute about the atmosphere and why I think this game feels so good to play. First off, it looks great. They took the blocky Minecraft-style voxel look and used it to create the beautiful world of Aldralon. It brings you into a world that looks full of life, and it's only augmented by the music. It brought me back to old EverQuest music. And add to the music the sound of rain falling, or the birds chirping when the sun is out, or the crickets at night. It makes for a very immersive world. And a world that also looks full and lived in. There are NPCs all over the place to talk to, the ground is covered with all kinds of little plants and bushes and the corpses of players who couldn't figure out how to kill a bunny. The layout of the city was great, it all just combines into a game that feels really nice to be in. So back to the level grind. I'm making really good progress killing level 1 mobs, so I decide to try my hand at killing a level 2 snake. It does not go well. So I test out another standard MMO feature and run to the guards. They're kind enough to kill the snake that's chasing me. Nothing to it. These low-level mobs are not hard to outrun, and the guards will help when needed, so this starting area doesn't feel too dangerous. And there we go. I have hit level 2. I head back to my guildmaster to see what's next. I talk to my trainer, learn the meditation skill, ignore the throw skill, that sounds like something I don't feel like learning how to do anyways, and he sends me out to seek out the arisen dead in the western graveyard to see if they carry any clues to the source of the abomination. Now, I should point out that there actually is a compass in this game, but it appears that you have to buy it and it costs like 4 gold. I want absolutely no part in paying that much money for something I can just do using my eyes and memory. So based on my new understanding of where things are and should be, I head to where I assume the western graveyard must be. And would you look at that? There it is. There are definitely lots of undead here, and I'm guessing I need to kill them to find this clue, but the level 2 zombies and skeletons are not easy to kill, and the level 3 ones just kind of wipe the floor with me. It's at this point where some feelings start to creep their way in. I'm seeing people hit level 3 and 4 and 5 in global chat, and I just hit level 2. I know I need to kill this stuff here to find this clue, but I also feel like I should probably grind out another level first before I do it, and killing level 1 and 2 stuff in the courtyard will take time. Am I falling behind? Am I falling behind? Yeah, that's an actual thought that popped into my head 45 minutes into an open community alpha test in the early stages of an MMO. This is not the way that games like this should be played. I think I have a problem. I think I've been playing too many modern MMOs where there's always a rush to level, a rush to endgame, a rush to clear content. Even EverQuest TLP servers have this issue. This intense sense of FOMO and feeling like if you fall behind, you might miss out on something. I need to play more old school games like this and just relax and explore like I used to 25 years ago. When I first started playing games like EverQuest, I would spend days just running around exploring, paying no mind at all to my level or the levels of players around me. I came to an important conclusion. This quest to find a clue from the undead was not going anywhere. It would still be here tomorrow. I'm going to go explore. I kill some mobs, I wander around town, and then after a while I talk to an NPC named Lydia Clarn, who tells me her shipment of fish is late. Apparently a fisherman who has already been paid for the delivery has failed to deliver the fish. He is a miserable guy to deal with, but he's the only fisherman willing to sell to Lydia for some reason, so she has no choice but to deal with him. She would like me to go see what's up with this guy. Naturally, I'm flattered that she would entrust me with this task, so I tell her I will deal with it immediately. So I head out of town and try and find this fisherman. I'm on a real quest now. So where is he? Is this a lake? It has a dock, but I don't see any fishermen, so I'm getting the impression that this may be more of a pond than a lake. So I head north. And yeah, that was a pond. This is a lake. I find Mr. Relward, who calls me a maggot, something I didn't even notice at the time because I was hyped up on the euphoria of finding my quest objective, and he gives me a crate of rancid-smelling fish to deliver to Lydia. I return the crate, and I'm relieved to hear that she will not be attempting to sell the rotten fish to the people of Lyon. She asked me to go demand a refund on her behalf, something that I absolutely intended to do, but forgot about because I found more quests. I go to the town hall, and after a handful of bureaucrats give me the runaround, Mr. Gatus here asked me to deliver a bill to someone in a place called Allard's Fork. He tells me it's a dangerous journey and calls me a hardy adventurer. Did you hear that? I'm a hardy adventurer. I accept the quest, but decide that I really should get to at least level 3 before attempting such a journey, and maybe I need better gear as well. I remember seeing some kind of ore while I was looking for the lake, and I saw a mining trainer earlier, so I go check that out. I find the mining trainer and talk to him. He gives me an iron pickaxe and tells me to go gather 5 pieces of copper ore and bring them to him. So I venture out in the dead of night in search of copper. I find some and attempt to mine it. You must have the proper tool equipped to mine. Okay, no problem. I'll equip it. This item can't be equipped. Okay. Okay, what? The pick seems to have disappeared, so maybe I equipped it and just can't see where it is, so I try to mine again. No, the pick's just in my bag. Okay, I see a crafting tab. It seems I have to equip the pick in my crafting tab, not on my equipment tab. Remember earlier how I said I like game systems that are intuitive and simple? This was not that, but it didn't take long to figure out, I guess, and at least I don't have to switch from my weapon to my pick, so I guess I'll let it slide. I collect the 5 pieces of ore and turn it into the mining trainer, and he gives me 5% experience and some coin, and I hit level 3. Sweet. I wonder if that's repeatable. Oh look, it is. I use the remaining 10 ore to learn a smelting recipe, but quickly find out that the crafting system is kind of convoluted and probably not worth the limited time I have to play in this short alpha. The important thing is I'm level 3 now and can go take another shot at progressing my cleric class questline. I head back to the Western Graveyard, an unstoppable level 3, and quickly get the item I need on my second kill. The quest never actually told me what the item was that I needed, but it was obvious when I saw it. EverCraft seems to be pretty good about that. They don't explicitly tell you what you need, but you'll know it when you see it. I hand in the item to my guildmaster, and he tells me to go talk to Captain Garnell at the Leont Barracks. The Fighters Guild and the Clerics Guild are working together to end this undead threat. Captain Garnell sends me to collect 4 skeletal skulls for him. I'll do that, but I have business to attend to in Allard's Fork first. I head out of town to start my journey. I don't really know where I'm going, but this feels like something I should head north for because I don't think going south is even an option due to the large body of water sitting there. I walk out of the city gates and something bites my ankle. I look down and see a little fluffy level 3 creature named Fink who apparently hates me. After a long epic battle, I down the beast and he drops an item. Fink's Lucky Trinket, plus 3 hit points. Cool. Rare mobs are a thing in EverCraft, and they drop actual loot with stats. If I wasn't ready for my journey to Allard's Fork before, I sure was now. So off I go. I find a road heading north out of Leont and I follow it. As I get farther away from the safety of the city and the safe courtyard area around it, I start to feel like I'm in danger. There are wolves along the road that I have to be careful to avoid. There are encampments with aggressive mobs if I stray too far from the road. The terrain rises on one side of the road and thick trees encroach on the other. All of this works to give the feeling of being boxed in. You can't see as far as you could in the open fields outside the city, and the mystery of what may be lurking over the hill or in the trees adds to the sense of danger. And then, after about 10 minutes, I arrive in Allard's Fork. A nice little town with a couple buildings and a guard tower. It looks so natural, nestled into the woods along the road, it feels like it was meant to be here. I find a shopkeeper to sell some items to clear out my bags, then do a double take and realize this is the guy I'm looking for my quest, so I give him the bill. He gives me a bag of coins to return to Leont Town Hall. On my return trip, I'm a little bolder and I venture off the road to do some mining. There's so much ore out here I collect enough to get me to level 4 when I return. After completing the Allard's Fork quest and leveling to 4 with copper turn-ins, I mess around in town a bit. I buy an ale for a man in a tavern who tells me a story in return. I collect some cotton for the bandage maker. I learn a new spell, and as time ticks down on my time playing EverCraft, there's only one thing left to do. I head back out to the western graveyard to collect some skulls. I'm level 4 now, and my new spell does massive damage to undead. These skeletons and zombies that were giving me a hard time just yesterday were falling easily to me. It took a number of kills, but I got my 4 skulls. I felt powerful, like I had grown and accomplished something. There was a follow-up quest, of course. This one leads to a dungeon. I would love to form a group and dive into a dungeon, but that will have to wait until next time I get a chance to play EverCraft. And I'm definitely looking forward to a next time. This game was surprisingly good. It didn't feel like a game in early development. It felt like a game that was ready to play now. This is a game I would pay for and not think twice. The world in the game does seem small right now, but it has so much potential and I can't wait to see where they go with it. The only real criticism I have is with the crafting system in the game. I hope they iron it out and simplify it a little bit. As it stands, there are too many little steps and too much interreliance between the different crafting skills. I said earlier that I bought a smelting recipe but decided not to pursue it because it seemed convoluted. What I gather from in-game chat is that in order to smelt something you need a mold, and to make that mold you need a pottery skill, and to make pottery you need to gather clay, but to make that mold you need a framework that is made from carpentry, and to do carpentry you need to gather wood. It just seemed like for everything I tried to do there was a step before that and a step before that. Sometimes you just want to smelt some copper without going through a bunch of complicated steps first, you know? But they have tons of time to figure that out, and I hope they do because they have something great going with this game. Well, thanks for watching my video on EverCraft. I just want to apologize for all the times I may have accidentally called it EverQuest in this video. I'm sure it's happened more than once. Talk to you next time.